Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session today. Today we're going to talk about a problem that plagues a lot of IT teams that I meet with, a lot of teams that I'm sure David sees on a day-to-day basis. And that problem is what we're calling the swivel chair effect. So, what is the swivel chair effect? Well, we have better tools than we've ever had before. We have AI. We're using SaaS platforms. Yet resolving some tickets might feel like it's taking the same amount of time, or maybe that it's a little harder or slower than it should be. So, today we're going to show you why we think that might be and what's something we can do to kind of mitigate that loss of time, that swivel chair tax that people might be paying. So, before we get into the meat of the content today, we'll do introductions so you know exactly who I am, who else is joining me today, our lovely David. I'll talk you through our agenda for the day and then we'll go right into it. So, okay, here's a quick introduction from myself. My name is Lauren O'Crew. I am a senior product marketer at SolarWinds. I've been working in ITSM for the last few years and in ticketing much longer than that. I love coming to IT teams and helping them, find resolutions faster. I think processes are really interesting. Maybe that's my nerdy side, but I really love helping people find efficiencies and helping, employees and the IT teams come together to make a better way of working. So that's me. David, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name's David Russell. I'm one of the solution engineers on the SolarWinds ITSM side or SolarWinds service desk. I've been with the product just shy of a decade, coming up on it soon. So it been working with the tool a lot, but same thing. I've kind of done a little bit of everything here, from the solution engineering side. Before I was one of our customer success managers, I've been on the account management side. So it's really been fun to watch the product grow, become part of SolarWinds, and kind of be able to speak to the whole portfolio. But excited to talk to everybody today, and like you said, kind of show them something that's pretty cool and can really stop that swivel chair effect. And honestly, to me, biggest thing is just save some time. Get a few minutes back in your day. Always nice.
Love that. Thanks, David. Can't wait to hear your expertise. I know you're really in the trenches with people day in and day out, so you're going to show us some good stuff. I just know it. So, to break down what we're going to talk about today. So, first thing is we're going to talk about the resolution gap. What is that gap? Um, Secondly, we'll talk about what are some risks that come along with fragmented support. Then we'll go into how to fix it. What is the solution? We're not just going to present the problem to you and not give you a way forward. We'll tell you what maybe might help fix that gap. And then David's going to give us a live view of how that solution works, showing us an integrated ITSM and remote support workflow. And then we'll wrap things up. Hopefully just keep you here for 30, no more than 40 minutes today. Okay, so the first topic we want to talk about is the current state of the swivel chair effect. What are we seeing? We're seeing a resolution gap. So, on one hand, on our left side, we have better ITSM tools, smarter, more efficient tools than ever before. Um, but on the other hand, that gap between an employee saying, I have a problem and the actual problem getting fixed has either stayed as wide of a gap as it once was, or that gap is widening as our employees, as other people really start to expect faster turnaround times. Our inability to solve those problems to meet their expectations actually increases that gap rather than closing it or feeling stagnant. That gap actually feels wider as people expect things to happen faster with AI, with other things. So, why is this gap feeling the same or widening? That could be because the workflow itself is broken. We've added more tech, which means we've potentially added more complexity, but we haven't streamlined exactly how that tech talks to each other, exactly how that tech, makes a difference. Sometimes we're automating for automation's sake rather than thinking about what are the real world workflows that are going to solve problems for the people on the other end of the ticket. So this is our problem that we're faced with that, helps instigate that swivel chair effect. Okay, on to our next slide. So, what is the swivel chair effect? This is the friction that is caused when a technician has to physically or digitally switch between their tools just to do their job. They look at a ticket, then maybe they switch to a chat window if their company is using a different sort of chat, to ask the user a follow-up question. Maybe they go into email, whichever way. Sometimes people pop over to their desk. Then they might switch to an asset database just to find which device this person is talking about because they've had a hard time tracking down the serial number or other details. And then finally, they might launch a remote tool. Eventually, they might launch a remote tool to help them take action on this problem that they've, just done this song and dance to try to find out more about the actual issues. So you can see how, that scenario, they're swiveling in their chair. They're going left and right and left and right. Hopefully, they have a few monitors for all these different programs. But what that really is, every time they switch tasks, they need to mentally rebuild the context of the issue, but also, they need to organize where their information is. Do they need to repeat where they centralize that information? Are they retyping or copying and pasting multiple things into the ticket from the asset database into the ticket? Is the remote tool synced to the database, or do they need to log what happened in that remote chat after into the ticket? So if you think about all that context switching, all of that repeated work of logging what has happened, assuming that they're doing it, I wouldn't blame them if they skipped a step, but multiply that by 20 or 30 tickets a day. That is massive operational drag, no? David, do you hear frustrations like this from customers that you're talking to?
Yeah, every day. And I'm sure, honestly, a lot of people watching and listening now, if you look at your screen or screens, there are probably tabs on tabs on tabs on tabs, and I'm guilty of it as well. If you look at my computer here, but yeah, I think it's something we all deal with, and I hear it from customers all the time. Is eh, we have products that work, right? We've got all this tech, like you had said, but I got to jump from here to there just to kind of get to that end result. And the biggest one is just really that swivel from I'm working in the ticketing system. I got a remote into somebody's device, to do what I need to do. And I think we'll talk about it a little, like AI is so helpful, and you hear it all the time, but we wouldn't have jobs if people and AI could fix everything on their own, So there's always that point where a user is going to need help from me, and I'm going to need to get into their device to do X, Y, Z, and that's really where we can save some time and make the impact. And we'll talk through that later today. But yeah, it's the time is probably the biggest thing I hear, or just the annoyance of having to remember which one of these little tabs is the one I need to jump to next.
Yeah, 100%. And you make a great point. Now that we have AI, this expenditure of time, this time that we're spending doing this swivel chair, for me, I think it feels more extreme than it did before, right? Do you agree? Like now that we're so used to the speed of things, actually it's really kind of highlighted where we're failing or where we need to optimize the most.
Right. Yeah, I think the same thing. We're getting more and more used to now kind of that instant result. So me even just having to think about, oh, let me go find that computer here to start that session. Be nice if that was just right in front of me, and I didn't have to think about it.
We're a product of our new environment, aren't we? That's
Right?
okay. Okay, so we've kind of hinted at our next topic of a few of them, and that is the hidden risks of this swivel chair approach. I don't feel like approach is the right word. This swivel chair effect. that we're seeing. So let's go into what those risks